Greetings, I'm Tammy Lee Demler, your pharmacist here at the Buffalo Psychiatric Center, and I'm going to be presenting today on smoking cessation. Now, smoking cessation means quitting smoking, and for many of you, hopefully, you have never smoked, and this may just be something you can consider for friends and family, or maybe people that are currently connected to you here at BPC who might still be struggling with smoking. So I think it's a pretty broadly applicable topic, and I hope you enjoy it for today's topic. So let's move ahead and look at what are we going to accomplish today. What are you going to do when you're thinking about smoking cessation and when you're thinking about quitting? It is the new year, time for resolutions, and hopefully maybe this will be one of them. So you kind of have to ask yourself, do you want to quit? If you find that your answer is, I don't really want to quit, it may not be time for you to try to quit. But then you got to think about what will make you want to quit. What are some ideas or motivational ideas for the future that you want to accomplish by quitting? Good reasons for quitting, we're going to go over those. Tips to help you quit. Quit and save yourself some money. We're going to talk about 5 keys for quitting. And then last, we're going to do a motivational interview to give you sort of this simulation of what it would look like to have a conversation with somebody who's going to help you try to embark on your journey or to stay on track if you already have tried. Then we'll do our Q&A, a little wrap up, and then your pharmacist is going to be up to do some activities with you today. So let's look at want to quit. So if I haven't already talked you into thinking about it, some reasons to think about it would include that nicotine is a very powerful addiction. Many people think of nicotine because you can buy cigarettes anywhere pretty much now. It used to be worse. There used to be much more available. We used to worry about little kids getting a hold of them. Now it's a little bit more structured, but you still can get them almost anywhere. But it's a powerful addiction. Some people can smoke a cigarette or two and not feel the addiction. Some people can smoke just a few cigarettes and then feel that euphoric effect, that stimulating effect that draws them to want to have more. Quitting is hard, but don't give up. You can do it. So anything that's worth it is hard work, right? So, if you've tried already and you have not been able to succeed, it takes many people multiple attempts to really quit. Most people, if not many would be maybe a better term, try 2 or 3 times before they quit for good. And those attempts are really, really full of effort. They're not just a kind of a whim, stop smoking for a day. They really, really tried. And that just shows you how strong nicotine is and that addiction is as well. Each time you try to quit, the more likely you will succeed. So I have spelled quit as quite on there. Don't hold back on my spelling. I typed this pretty quick. So every time you quit, the more likely it is that you'll succeed. So again, if you've tried, at least you know what it's going to be like and you know the challenges ahead of you. Good reason for quitting. You will live longer and healthier. We know that science says that even if you have smoked for a long time, that when you quit, your lungs start to repair and recover almost immediately. It takes a while to fully get back to close to baseline, but we know that it happens almost when you stop smoking, things start to heal. The people who you live with, children, grandchildren, older adults, will also be healthier because there's the unfortunate consequence of secondhand smoke being very, very dangerous to people who have never smoked, or nor do they choose to smoke. So secondhand smoke and the lack of secondhand smoke because of your smoking cessation will make people around you much healthier. You'll have more energy, you'll breathe easier, and people will say to me, well, Dr. Demler, I think I have more energy when I'm smoking. I certainly don't feel like I need to eat as much. Well, the fact of the matter is that the energy you're getting, if that you would even call that energy from smoking, is really the stimulating effects of nicotine, very similar to what you would experience in a way to caffeine, but caffeine is not as addictive as nicotine. But the energy you're getting is not true energy. It's just a stimulation. It's bad for your heart. Your heart has to work harder. Your blood pressure goes up. So the energy you're feeling is really just a stimulant effect. It's not really energy. And breathing easier, you'll be able to take deeper breaths, you'll be able to smell things better, and people who are worried about gaining weight, you just have to be very careful with just replacing your desire to have some additional snacks with just healthier snacks. Carrots, celery, things that are crunchy that keep you busy. Also, I would mention to you that you'll be able to taste food better because when you smoke, the way food tastes isn't as good as it could be. You're not experiencing the full potential of a nice snack or meal. So you'll have the ability to enjoy more of your food with smoking cessation. You'll also lower your risk of heart attack, stroke, and cancer. Those are things that are really important, um, obviously. So you'll want to make sure that your medical conditions are considered as well. Tips to help you quit: get rid of all of your cigarettes. Don't keep anything around. Get rid of everything in your car, your house. You really can't have a stash that you can call back on because you will, if you feel like you're tempted, you know that there's a place to go and to get that. So get rid of everything, even ashtrays, any reminders. Ask your family and friends and coworkers for support. You're going to want to make sure that people are there with you on your cheering team and their mindset to be the same as yours, that you succeed. So it's better for people to know, then they won't be more likely to ask you about it. They won't be more likely to tempt you if they are smokers. Try to stay in non-smoking areas. Sometimes when we smoke, and I've had a whole bunch of my family members who are they continue to smoke, but many of them have succeeded. They were best in their success when they stayed away from the other smokers and smoking areas. It's easier to do that now, though, right? Because there's a lot of non-smoking areas. Restaurants are non-smoking. It was harder when there were different levels of smoking allowed. So non-smoking is much better. Breathe in deeply when you feel the urge to smoke. A nice deep breath will help you clear your lungs, clear your mind, give you a little bit of a less anxiety sense of feeling. So nice and deep breaths. Sometimes when we feel anxious, we sort of stop breathing deeply when we feel that way, and it makes it only worse. So nice deep breaths, nice slow deep breaths. Keep yourself busy, reward yourself often. That's my favorite part, is that when you're really struggling to get through something that's difficult, is it's okay to reward yourself with something that's good for you. So you try to, and we're going to talk about money saved. Maybe instead of using the money for your cigarettes, you can put it on the side and treat yourself to a coffee during the week, or perhaps buying a book or something fun that would be good for you. Remember that they're expensive. I don't know how much they cost now. There was information in a previous slide deck that I think was old information about the cost of cigarettes, but they're much more expensive now. And if you think of it as a daily, monthly, or annual cost, you can save a lot of money, thousands of dollars. What would you want to do with that money? Do you think you could go on a trip? Do you think you could buy yourself a gift? Maybe you need to replace, your clothing because, maybe you have had cigarette burns because you were smoking with clothing on. Think about what you would use that money for, and identify a goal, and that'll help you be more motivated to achieve that goal. So wanting to quit, keys to quitting, I think it's helpful to have a step-by-step process when we're thinking about it. You're going to want to get ready, right? So that's the first step we're going to want to think about. And what do we want to do when we get ready? You're going to want to set a quit date, and you're going to stick with it. Difficult to do, but it's necessary. So think of a date, stick with it. It's not flexible. It's something that shouldn't be changed as you get closer. You really need to be very truthful with yourself with that date. Do a countdown. Don't make it a year from now. Make it realistic, measurable and realistic. Maybe next week, maybe in a month. Just something that's pretty proximate to now. It wouldn't be a good idea maybe to go with tomorrow, for example, because you have things that you want to accomplish, right? Notification of your family and friends, maybe buying some nicotine replacement. So have a plan, but this is getting you ready here. Be prepared to not even take a single puff. No cheat attempt is ever helpful. It will not help you succeed. You may feel immediate relief with having that little puff, but it's going to set you back. So no puffs, not even a single one. Think about past attempts. So if you've already done an attempted smoking cessation, think about how that went. What did you like? What did you not like? What would you change if you ever had the chance to do it again? And what did work? What didn't work? Again, take a little cheat sheet, do pros and cons if you can remember, and then maybe formulate a plan to avoid the things that you didn't like or to do more of what you did like. Next step is getting support and encouragement. Many people might say if they kept it hidden, it might be better. But if it's, people are going to ask you questions because people who know you know your patterns and know what you do. So it's best to really let people know. Tell your family, friends, and coworkers you're quitting. It doesn't have to be a great big um, long story. You could even just send an email looking for your support, and well wishes as I embark on this smoking cessation journey. Could use all the, positive vibes I can get. Send an email, send a text. Doesn't have to be a long story, but best for everybody to know. Talk to your doctor or other providers. So if you're seeing a doctor, medical, psychiatrist, let them know that you're planning on this because some of your medications can actually be influenced by the smoking cessation. Um, Sometimes in a positive way, sometimes in a way that needs to be adjusted. So for example, when you are on clozapine and you're smoking cigarettes, you need more clozapine doses to make up for what's being sort of broken down by that cigarette smoking. So when you stop smoking, your dose of clozapine could be lower, but we need to think about that because we want to make sure you don't have any adverse reactions or adverse side effects to that smoking cessation. Getting group or individual counseling can be helpful because part of the smoking addiction is internal to us. It's emotional. It's the habit. It's the having that feeling of something in your mouth. Smoking, it can be comforting to many people. They find that to be like their best friend, and the thought of loss of that is a very emotional grieving process for some. So talking to your counselor about how to get through that, you may need other support. Some people might need a little extra support. And then there is a free help call number. I think that number actually there's a typo. It's a quit now number, but the numbers, the most important part is 1-800-784-8669. It had letters that you could use, but I never liked those letters anyway, so go with the number. And if by chance that number becomes disconnected or obsolete, contact your doctor or pharmacist here at BPC and we can get that number for you. You can get additional counseling. You can get, sometimes you can actually get quitting supplies. They used to be able to offer some supplies for free based on what they're offering at the time, but it's definitely a good thing to think about. You're going to want to learn new skills and behaviors. So you, having smoked for whatever period of time, 5 years, 15 years, 50 years, whatever, it's never too late to stop. But you need to learn new skills and behaviors to kind of adapt to that change of your new normal, which is good for you. So we'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. You want to make sure that you change your routine. Some people, when they get out of bed, the first thing they do is light up a cigarette. Sometimes after people sit down and have a meal, that's the trigger for them to smoke a cigarette. So, perhaps getting up on the other side of the bed. I know that sounds strange, but having just a little bit of a break of a different routine. Putting on slippers if you didn't put on slippers before. Maybe going right in and brushing your teeth so that you have a nice minty clean feeling. Doing little things like that sounds like it doesn't probably add up too much, but it really has been part of what smokers who have succeeded in their efforts to stop smoking have said that they've done. Try to reduce your stress. This may be a stressful embarkation for you, though. This idea may be causing some stress, but in the other parts of your life, try to reduce as much stress as possible. Give yourself a little bit of a break. Maybe don't overcommit to interacting with people. Maybe you want to just have a little bit of a little more downtime as you get used to this non-smoking lifestyle. Try to distract yourself from urges to smoke. I mentioned one is brush your teeth. Your dentist would be very happy with your additional teeth brushing, flossing. Maybe you want to do have some arm weights that you do some arm weights. I have little arm weights that sometimes when I'm feeling a little stressed, I can do it and I feel better after doing 12 little reps. Plan on something enjoyable every day. So whether that's watching a TV show, whether having a snack or a nice drink that you like lemonade, try to reduce the calorie intake, but something that you can look forward to every day that might be a little different than what you used to have during the day when you were a smoker. Drink lots of water, other fluids, as much as you can that would be not caloric because pop and sodas can have a lot of calories. You don't want to gain weight with smoking cessation. I would expect that you might have a little weight gain because your food will taste so much better. But in that regard, just drink lots of water. You can also maybe flavor the water with a little lemon or something to make it a little bit more fun. And then replace that smoking, that sort of, that tendency to want to have that the experience of having something like a cigarette in your mouth, maybe a carrot, you can chew it, celery, those are things that you might want to have just at your ready. And then getting medication and using it correctly, there's medication to help you. I gave you a few examples here. Used to be something called Zyban or bupropion. It's still available. It's an oral medication. It's also an antidepressant, but it works to help with smoking cessation. It helps to curb those cravings. Get that on board. The doctor can prescribe it for you if you're in the right regimen, if you're taking the right kind of medications along with it. It would be a safe alternative to maybe something else. Maybe it's not for everybody, but it's an option. Nicotine comes as gum, inhaler, nasal spray, patch, and lozenge. Those things that I have listed in bold font, dark color, would be available over the counter. The other things are prescribed. So a nasal spray or inhaler you'd need a prescription for. Maybe in the future it'll be over the counter, but these things change, so keep an eye on that. And then Chantix or varenicline is the newest smoking cessation medication available by prescription. It's been around a long time now, but it's newer than bupropion. And then be prepared for relapse, be prepared for difficult situations. Know what you'll do if you feel like you have that urge and it's overwhelming. We talked about a few things right now, but just be prepared for that. Some examples: avoiding alcohol. Many times drinking alcohol in a social situation can put you at risk of feeling like you want to smoke. So avoid that if you possibly can. I would entirely encourage that. Try to be avoiding other smokers just for the period of time where you're feeling the most vulnerable. I will tell you that eventually you won't feel as vulnerable, you won't have as many cravings, you won't have as much desire to cheat on your plan for success. So just for the period of time where you're feeling the maybe most vulnerable, stay away from other smokers if possible. Improve your mood in other ways than smoking. There are mindfulness exercises, there are internet relaxation programs you can listen to, music, waves, sometimes thunder. That sound of thunder can be reassuring. Look and see what kind of mindfulness, yoga, that kind of thing might be able to help you improve your mood. And eat a healthy diet, stay active. Again, you're going to have more energy, which will be exciting for you if you have not had that before, because you felt that you were having smoking. We're going to watch a video right now, so please stick with this.
Hi there, my name's Leah. I'm one of the junior doctors working in the GP surgery today. Is it okay if I just check your full name and date of birth, please?
Yeah, of course. It's Camilla Weldon, and it's the 3rd of May 1977.
Great, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Is it okay if I call you Camilla?
Of course.
Brilliant. So how can I help you today?
Yes, so my father, he's had quite a significant stroke.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. The doctors did say that that was due to his smoking.
Okay.
I am a smoker. My partner is really worried that this will happen to me, so he's encouraged me to come and talk to you about just ways of giving up smoking.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe it was your partner that was quite concerned.
Yes, I am genuinely pleased to be here and get some advice. It's just I have tried before and it has not been successful.
Okay, I understand that. Do you think perhaps we could talk a bit about your smoking in general and then see where we can go from there?
Yes, of course, yes.
Okay. So can I just ask, how long have you been smoking for?
So I started smoking when I was 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you smoked ever since?
Yes.
Okay. And how many, is it cigarettes you smoke?
Yeah.
How many cigarettes per day roughly do you smoke?
So when I started, when I was 18, I was smoking 20 a day.
Okay.
But when I had children, I reduced that down to 10 a day. So my children are 16 and 14.
Okay.
So I have, yeah, but I have maintained 10 a day since my children were born.
Okay, that's really good. How did you find dropping it down? Did you manage that okay?
I managed that okay. I'm really careful around the children, and that was a big motive. But just the stress of work, I haven't really been able to stick at no cigarettes permanently.
Okay, so it was work stress that seems to have been interrupting every time you've stopped previously.
Absolutely.
Okay. And is there anything else that sort of triggered you to go back to smoking, or is it just the work?
I would say it's really just work. Yeah, stress at work.
Okay. And what was it that made you want to give up in the first place? Was it something related to your children, perhaps?
Yeah, initially it was just, I know smoking's not good for anyone, and also people around smoke, so that was a big incentive. And I am very careful. I don't smoke around the children even now.
Okay.
I go outside, so that was the incentive then. But I just, with my father having a stroke, you're made aware, aren't you, of the consequences. So that is a motivation.
Absolutely. And when you've tried to give up smoking before, what products have you used, or have you used anything?
Yeah, I tried the nicotine patch.
Okay.
But to be honest, it didn't really give a strong enough burst to reduce that craving.
Okay. Were there particular times that you felt like you needed that burst, or was it just all the time it didn't feel enough?
Really just going back to work, if it was a particular stressful meeting or there was a load of work piling up, it just didn't seem to take off that craving.
Right, okay. So potentially there's a few things we can think about there, which would give you a bit of kind of smoking cessation advice.
Okay.
I think it'd also be helpful to understand a bit more about your general health, if that's okay.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you, that was really helpful to get to understand a little bit more about your general health. And I think I agree with your partner and with yourself as well. It sounds like it's definitely sensible to try to stop smoking given the risks associated with it. So going forwards, it would be quite helpful for me to understand your thoughts on how the smoking is affecting you day to day.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So in the morning, I do feel quite chesty. I'm pretty certain that's down to the smoking. But also, I know when I'm helping the children in the morning to get ready for school, if I haven't had a chance to get out and have a cigarette, I am quite snappy with them and quite short-tempered. And I'm certain that is obviously to do with smoking.
Okay. And other than that, is there anything that's particularly worrying you about your smoking?
Yeah, I mean, obviously my father, having a stroke, that does worry. It could at some point happen to me.
Before we go on to discuss some of your options, I just wanted to check, is there anything that you particularly don't want us to cover today, or any options you don't want to discuss?
I'm really, really not keen on trying e-cigarettes.
Okay.
I've got, as I said, 2 teenage children, and I know that is a real thing amongst teenage children, and I don't really want to do that because I think it could encourage them to do so, and I really don't want that to happen, so I'd rather stay away from that option, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
And I'm sure, as you say, you're already aware of some of the risks, so particularly the stroke that your father has unfortunately had. But I suppose it's not just the stroke that is the risk. There's other things as well. So when you mentioned about your worry with the chestiness that you're feeling in the morning, so smoking, as I'm sure you're aware, does have quite a lot of problems related to your lungs. So not just the chestiness and making your asthma worse, but it can also cause kind of other long-term conditions like COPD. So that's a problem that really affects your breathing in the much longer term for your lungs. It could also increase your risk of lung cancer as well.
Yeah.
And in terms of the stroke, that's related to the blood vessels. So smoking doesn't only cause problems in the blood vessels related to stroke, but it can also cause problems with the blood vessels in the heart and potentially leading to heart attacks. And also the blood vessels get into kind of fingers and toes and further down into your legs, which can cause lots of problems with kind of wound healing and blood supply to your legs further down the line.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
All things to kind of motivate us even more to want to to stop, and I think it's great that you're here. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to sort of talk about some of your options and maybe explore things a little bit further.
Definitely, thank you.
So just to check before I explain some of those options, I just wanted to make sure that you don't have any questions or concerns so far.
No, I'm really happy with, everything's very clear so far, thank you.
Okay, so there's two sort of types of support that we can offer you. Some of those might be medications, so kind of similar to the nicotine patch that you've tried before, but some of them are not medications and just trying to offer you support to help you succeed this time around.
Hopefully, yes.
So in terms of the medications, I think it sounds like last time you've tried to use the patch, it didn't really do what you wanted it to. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
And it sounds like from what you've told me, you need something that's got a bit more of a sort of a quick action when you're having those particularly stressful times.
Ideally, yes.
Okay. Have you heard of nicotine sprays or nicotine chewing gum before? Have you ever heard of anybody using those?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So it does a very similar thing to the nicotine patch, but instead of providing sort of a low-level background amount of nicotine, it just has that quick burst for when you need it. So that might be something to consider.
Definitely,
Good.
yes.
And then from the other kind of selection of support things we can offer you, we know that it's really, really difficult to give up smoking, and so the fact that you're here to try again is fantastic.
Thank you.
But actually we know that people are a lot more successful with trying to give up if they have support from somebody else. So we could offer you a sort of a telephone support appointment where somebody could call you and just check in on how you're doing if you think that would be helpful.
That's great, that's amazing, thank you. Yeah,
Good. And then obviously lastly, I'll like to check in with you as well and just see how you're getting on. So if it's okay with you, I'd quite like to arrange sort of a follow-up, just so I can call you via telephone sometime next week just to see how you're doing and check in with you sort of after the first week or so. Do you think that would be okay?
That's just really amazing, thank you.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think that sounds like quite a good combination of things. What I'm quite keen to get the ball rolling is to pick a date that works for you to say, you know, today's the day I'm going to start stopping, as it were.
No, thank you so much. I think, well, definitely, it would make sense to start tomorrow, as Friday, when I finish work.
Okay.
I've got the weekend to, you know, no paperwork, stress-free, so I could sort of just get a good start. Yeah, I think that would be a hopeful, positive, good chance of a good start if I do it then.
That sounds really good, and tomorrow's definitely a good start, not trying to put it off too much.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And do you think you'd feel comfortable to tell your friends and family about that kind of stop date, that tomorrow's the day?
Yeah, I mean, obviously my partner is very supportive, obviously encouraged me to come, but I'm quite excited to tell the children. That's a big motivator, so I will. And it's fantastic that, you know, you can check in. Would it sort of, how about maybe then sort of at the end of next week? Because it, you know, it might just get me an incentive to get through the week. Do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. I can book you in to call you next Friday, see how you're getting on.
Certainly an incentive.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
That's okay. So just to kind of think through that next week then, before I ring you on Friday, can you think of any kind of challenges that you might face during that week and how you're going to try and overcome those to keep up with the success of not smoking?
Yeah, well, certainly. I mean, I do sometimes have a couple of cigarettes in an evening, but that's more habit out of, you know, so I think I can, you know, manage that. But certainly I know it'll happen during a very stressful moment at work. But I think the spray or the gum seems a lot more hopeful if it can give me a more intense, quicker sort of burst.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I
like you
have
say,
that to hand.
when you're having those kind of cravings at work and you feel that stress coming on, good to have something that's close by that you know you can reach for instead of a cigarette.
Definitely.
And have that as your sort of action plan if that difficult situation arises.
Definitely.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Absolutely. I'm
Perfect.
sure it'll help massively.
Brilliant. So I guess the remaining hurdle is just to make sure that in that moment of stress that you don't have cigarettes to reach for at all, because it takes away that option.
Yeah.
So what we do suggest is actually just removing all of the cigarettes from your home, from your kind of bag, from anywhere that you could easily get hold of one, just so that it takes away that temptation, and that makes people much more likely to be successful in stopping. And do you think that's something you would be happy to do?
Yeah, I will. Purely, you know, I might run out the shop and buy some, but knowing I've got that spray, I feel will yeah, make that possible.
Okay, that sounds
Yes,
really
I
good.
will.
Good, brilliant.
Yes, I will.
Fantastic. That sounds good. And it sounds like we've got a plan that hopefully you feel like it is going to work for you. But as I say, it is difficult, and there will certainly be times where you find it really hard. But hopefully there's lots of support there. So it sounds like your partner and your children will be really happy that you're giving it a go again. And there'll be the telephone appointments where the smoking support service will ring you to check in on you. But also there'll be the appointment with me next week to see how you're getting on.
I think it seems that it's more realistic, that it could be helpful, but I'm definitely willing to try it. I'm really grateful.
Fantastic, that's really good to hear. What I'll do is I'll just give you a couple of leaflets to take away with you, just so that you've got that bit of information if you want to have a read around things, and just some of your other options as well, in case anything else does interest you. And then you can always kind of ask me about those when I speak to you again on Friday. But in the meantime, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Have you got any other questions that you want to ask before we finish today?
No, you've been really helpful, and I'm really grateful for those suggestions and that support. I really feel confident and happy to try it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, best of luck, and I'll speak to you on Friday.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, check out the Geeky Medics collection of over 500 OSCE
Okay, so I hope you liked that video, give you a kind of a sense of what it's like when you have an appointment. We're going to wrap up and review before your pharmacist comes up, and you can have more questions for that person as well. So want to quit? 5 keys for quitting. Get ready, set a quit date, and stick with it. Be prepared to not even try a single puff. Think about past attempts, and then what worked, what didn't. Ready for your Q&A? All right. So what is a good reason to quit smoking? Your choices would be: it will save you money, it will make you healthier, it will make people around you healthier, or all of the above. Do you like all of the above? I do too. How about, what is a good tip to help you quit? Don't tell anyone you're quitting. Get rid of cigarettes in your home, but only keep them in your car. Hold your breath if you feel the urge to smoke, or keep yourself busy and reward yourself often. Like D also. How about getting ready? So when you're considering quitting, you set a quit date that you can change as it gets closer. Do you be prepared to limit cheating just to a puff or 2? Think about past quit attempts and let yourself feel defeated. Or think about what worked and what didn't. I like D. Never ever let yourself feel defeated. Keep pushing forward and never cheat. It's one cheat really can set you back. And then you want a firm quit date. Don't change it as it gets closer. And then there's a lot of choices for this one, right? So learning new skills and behaviors. What would you like? Which of these do you like? When you first try to quit, change your routine, reduce your stress, distract yourself from urges to smoke, plan something enjoyable to do every day, drink a lot of water and other fluids, replace smoking with low-calorie food such as carrots, or all of the above. And I know you're thinking it's a trick question because it's all of the above. Perfect. And then the last question we have here is getting medication and using it correctly. Which of the following is available to you over the counter? Bupropion, nicotine gum, nicotine inhaler, or Chantix. Yep, the gum. And thank you for joining us today. Your pharmacist will be right up. Have a great day.